Hello and welcome back to Super Taco Crew. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after Edgar got back to the house, after the marginally successful infiltration mission where he was supposed to get basically information to blackmail Black Star into leaving him alone and stuff. And, you know, to basically show, like, they've been doing some illicit stuff, like killing people. And while it did go relatively well, when Edgar got home, he noticed that James was missing, and the assassin that was trying to kill them last time is basically in the bedroom, and his name is Nikolai. So yeah, so I guess without further ado, let us continue on to Chapter 7. Truncated. Edgar sat in the back of the car, blindfolded and his hands zip-tied behind his back. He heard the roar of the engine and the foreign noises from the city in the distance. The snow leopard, driving, said nothing. Edgar felt tears well in his eyes. If you hadn't met me, James, then you'd be... He knew it was too easy to just go back and run into James's arms. He felt so stupid and hopeless. A small part of him was hopeful that they would be let go. The snow leopard, Nikolai, had the chip now. He handed over the ultimate weapon just for the small chance that James would not be killed. He knew a great evil may come of it, but he couldn't bear the weight of anything happening to James. Hey, are you going to let us go? You said that we'd be fine. If it is up to me, then I would. But it is up to the boss. He sounded old and grizzled, like a weathered soldier. His accent was strange too. Edgar had not heard something like that. Well, your boss tried to kill me just a few hours ago. Firion is very hasty sometimes. I prefer a methodical approach. You try to kill us too. Nikolai chuckled. You mean at the alleyway? We were running in a straight line. If I wanted to kill you, you would be dead. Edgar gulped. Then why did you let us live? I wanted to scare you into doing something stupid. It is a way to gather information. Edgar clenched his teeth. Well, you've got everything you wanted from us. I just was in the wrong place at the wrong time, okay? The snow leopard said nothing. Every moment in the car, Edgar felt more and more anxious. He could feel the regrets deep in his stomach, the choices that had led him here. The car went on for a long time, and Edgar heard droplets of rain on the car's windshield. Suddenly the car slowed down, and Edgar heard a loud beep. Then they went further until the car came to a stop. The engine was shut off, and he heard the Panther get out of the front. Then he heard his door open. Time to go. Edgar let out a quick breath and did as he was told, scooting to the side and getting out. The leopard closed the door and guided Edgar by his arm. They walked into a door, and Edgar heard an elevator come up. The two stepped inside, and Edgar heard the door close. The elevator descended slowly downwards. The loud grinding gears were the only noise. Are you going to let him go at least? I'm the one who broke in. You should just take me and leave him alone. The leopard said nothing. Please. Finally, the doors opened, and they stepped outside. The blindfold was removed from his head. Let's go. They walked into a large hangar bay. The first thing Edgar noticed was the giant aircraft in the center of a large enclosed space. It looked like a machine designed for military use. There were a few tanks and other equipment strewn around. Nikolai led him to the aircraft as the tail end slowly came down. Inside stood a menacing figure. Edgar recognized him immediately. Firion. So, it's the delusional fox demon. Where's James? Oh, you mean that meathead? Right over here. Firion went back into the aircraft and brought out James at gunpoint. All right, I'm going. James! Edgar, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry. It's okay. We're gonna get through this, alright? Isn't it just beautiful? Two star-crossed lovers. But unfortunately, your story ends here. Please, you have what you want. Just let him go. Don't be stupid. You think I'd risk my entire life's work for two nobodies? Please. This is what you get for meddling in affairs over your head. Nikolai, take him outside and kill him. You know I don't like getting my hands dirty. Yes, sir. Murderer? You murderer? And the fox, sir? Leave him here. He will be a nice target practice for our new toy. Nikolai grabbed James and started walking away with him. James! Edgar, I love you! I love you too. I love you too! Edgar looked down at the ground, tears welling in his eyes. Now hurry up and get inside the aircraft. No more time to hesitate. Nikolai held the gun to Edgar's back. Edgar felt his heart beating so fast, his head in a daze. He did as he was told. As they stepped inside the aircraft's loading bay, the engines started up. They walked up a set of steps and walked through a door. The other side was a featureless gray passage. Firion opened up another door and shoved Edgar inside. Now be a good boy and sit still. He closed the metal door and Edgar heard him lock it. Edgar sat on a bench. He heard nothing but the droning of the engines. How did this happen? How? He felt his stomach drop, a pit of fear, despair, and endless void. Without James, he was nothing, just a speck in this meaningless world. Edgar's mind did what he did always, twist inside in and out, figuring out his escape. But this time, it was like he was stuck in a black tar pit. James. The droning of the engines drowned everything out. His eyelids were so heavy, he just wanted to sleep and wake up. Just wake up. Once, I was a little boy. I was playing in the garden with Mom in her rocking chair on the porch, drinking cold tea. I saw a beautiful red robin land on a small shrub. Mom, look! Wow, what a pretty bird! I bet I can catch it. I ran up to the bird, but it flew into a tree. Not looking, I tripped on a rock and scraped my knee on the gravel. Ow! Oh, Edgar! The pain in my knee shot up my leg. I felt myself start to cry. After a while, Mom came over with a clear liquid. This is going to hurt, okay? I need you to be a strong kid. Okay. She poured it over my knee. It was like liquid hot fire. I screamed. Look at the clouds, Edgar. Doesn't it look like a bird? Yeah. Don't look at your knee. Just look at the clouds. Tell me what each one looks like. Okay. Edgar awoke suddenly. He felt like he was dreaming, being in this unfamiliar gray box. He tried moving his arms, but they were still tied firmly behind his back. This is real. He sat back up on the bench. His head was cloudy, but he was a little bit less tense than before. What am I gonna do? He looked around at the room. There was a small window and the door with a small sliding panel in front of it. It looked old-fashioned. They were already up in the air. I don't think I was asleep long. The despair of James being gone was welling up inside of him, but he also couldn't ignore the current threat. The idea of someone like Firion with the world's most powerful weapon. He felt something inside. The urge to stop Firion's megalomaniacal plan was there. But more than that, he wanted to hurt him, just like he had hurt James. Edgar clenched his fists. There's no way that I can just sit here. He needs to be stopped. Edgar felt his heart pounding. Was he really capable of killing someone, even a monster like Firion? I gotta get out of here. Edgar shuffled backwards and placed his arms as low as he could behind him. Then he pushed upwards with his legs, struggling and breathing quickly. Come on. Almost there. His arms felt like they were about to come out of their sockets. Ow. Come on. Finally, they went under his legs and up towards his knee. He breathed a sigh of relief. Then he pushed his arms up and slid his legs through them, finally having his arms in front of him. All right, hard part's over. He chewed at the zip tie with his sharp molars, grinding them forwards and backwards, while wriggling his hands away from each other. After a few seconds, the zip tie snapped. He picked up the broken zip tie, examining it. Then he went to the door and looked carefully at the lock. It was an old pin tumbler lock. Edgar had picked locks many times as a teenager. They even had a lock-picking club at school. I guess school wasn't totally useless after all. He grabbed one of the ends of the zip tie, tearing off the loose bits. With his nails, he quickly picked some plastics apart, shaping it into something that had spikes on it. He grinded the zip tie with his teeth again, tearing off another section. Similarly, he tore at it until it had a small groove. Edgar noticed that he was working up a sweat and wiped his forehead. Sure wish I had my tools with me, even a simple pick. He took the hook part and pressed it down on the plunge. Then, with the other end, he inserted it all the way and pressed upwards, pulling it back. His sensitive ears could hear the little clicks as a few of the pins set. He did it again, hearing more pins set, but a few dropped back. Okay, too hard. Just be softer. Again, he scraped the pins. A few of the pins clicked in. Almost. On his third try, it was a clean swipe. He pulled, and the hook successfully turned the lock. Got it! Edgar pulled the door open and slid his way into the hall. I'm gonna bring this whole damn plane down. For you, James. Why isn't it working? I'm not sure, sir. It should be fully operational. Did that stupid Vox give me a fake? The device is correctly controlling power to the main unit, and all subsystems are functional. It's not possible to fake this. It's just not moving. Then what's the holdup? We have our tests set up already. We can't waste any more time. If we have to turn around now, someone's head will roll. Yes, sir. I will, do more tests on it. You better hope it works. Perhaps it needs something else to activate it. What else could it possibly need? Or maybe it was damaged. I didn't detect signs of damage. Wait, I'm getting some neural net activity. Firion rushed over. Is it working? I'm not sure, but it's definitely thinking. Firion looked at the metal Drake. Alpha Drake, if you can hear me, wake up. We have a mission for you. The Drake was still. Damn it! Firion cursed. What is... With the grace of a silent shadow, Edgar dashed forward. In a split second, he reached into Nikolai's jacket, grabbing his gun. He pointed it at Firion. No! You... Edgar couldn't hold back the tears. You killed James, you bastard! You just fucking killed him! So, what are you gonna do? He's already dead. Edgar gritted his teeth harder. He saw Firion at his sights. All he had to do was pull the trigger. You think it's so easy to kill someone? Then do it! Tears flowed down his cheeks. James wouldn't want me to be a murderer. Firion grinned. Huh, weak and pathetic. But that doesn't mean that I have to let you live. Edgar pointed the gun past the control console. He shot the gun at the control panel 5 times and it blew up. No! Immediately, a siren started blaring and Edgar felt a drop in altitude. The shockwave made him drop the gun. Do you know what you've done, you pathetic little parasite? Sir, we have to evacuate immediately. The scientist ran to the back of the plane as the pilot tried to correct course. Firion slowly crawled towards Edgar, who was also on the ground. Sir, we must go now. You ruined everything! I'm going to kill you with my own hands! I just wanted to live. Why wouldn't you let us go? Haha. You still want to act like a little innocent little pup? You are a criminal, a lowlife. You don't deserve to live. Firion found the gun and pointed it at Edgar. Edgar started running towards the back. Shot after shot echoed loudly in the control room as the plane was coming down. Edgar ran, just had to make it to the hull. All of a sudden, he felt a sharp force push him forward. He landed on all fours. He struggled to breathe, dragging himself closer to the hallway that seemed like it was miles away. His vision started darkening around the edges. His shallow breathing was loud in his ears, amplified. The pain in his chest was tremendous. He grabbed his stomach. It was wet. He pulled his hand up, and his dizzy vision, he saw it was completely soaked in crimson-red blood. Somewhere far away, Firion was talking, but he couldn't make out the words. He started slipping away. Just the pain and agony was left. There was a sound of metal creaking and breaking. Electricity with green sparks. The sound of wind rushing and gravity moving in all directions. He dreamed he was flying through the clouds again, just falling down without any more worries. The air soaring past him, caressing his fur with a soft like silk sheet. Someone was holding him. It was James. He nestled his head in James's big fluffy shoulder. He felt safe again, finally back where he belonged. He wasn't sure how long he was in that big endless sky. It seemed to go on forever, but he loved every second of it. Every second with James again. It was all worth it, just for this. Edgar hoped that he could be here forever. Once I was a young man. I was in school, reading a manga. It was Ravencap, my favorite. He always stood for good and helped those in need. He wanted everyone in his town to live happy, prosperous lives. He used his amazing acrobatics and bow and arrow to defeat all types of villains. Initially, it was robbers and petty thieves. But as he grew stronger, he could take on gangsters and even a mob boss. No matter what stood before him, he defeated them and saved the day. I had a fresh volume in my backpack. My mom had gotten it for me. I was saving it all day for lunch period so that I could really sit and enjoy it. I was walking to lunch when I felt someone shove me forward. I put my arms in front of my face and my arms got scraped as I hit the ground. I looked back. It was Scott, a big, malicious antelope. Haha, what a loser. What do you got in there? I felt him reach into my backpack and I scrambled to get up. What's this? Hey, give it back! I reached up to try and snatch it, but he shoved me to the ground again. What a wimp. Edgar heard the sound of tearing paper. He was tearing the manga page by page, ripping it into pieces. Here's what I think of your anime, loser. Stop! Stop it! Maybe stop being a little queer, then I'll stop. He walked away and left me there, surrounded by torn paper. I started collecting the pieces, but it was useless. I felt a lump in my throat, and I had never held back tears so hard in my life. I grabbed the cover. At least Ravencap was still mostly intact. Later, my mom would get it out of me what happened. When I showed her the book, she hugged me so tightly. Well, we'll go get another one, okay? Let's go right now. Come on. Okay. We went and got another copy, and got ice cream too. She asked me about Ravencap, and I told her his story. How he was raised in a poor home, but trained for years. She thought that he was amazing. A real hero. There was a sound. A sound of crickets and something crackling. Edgar opened his eyes slowly, the blurry world coming in. Hey, are you alright? Shh. Don't talk so much. Your wounds are still fresh. Ravencap? Is that you? Ravencap? I don't know who you're talking about. What? My name is Ezekiel, but you can call me Zeke. Zeke? Edgar drifted off again. He came back after a while of drifting away. He felt heat on his fur. Shh. It's all right. Try not to move too much. The world was spinning around him. He felt a bit of relief as his back was rubbed. Here, have some water. Edgar felt a bowl come up to his lips. He drank the water, feeling the cool sensation down his thirsty throat. There we go, nice and slow. Edgar sat up. Hey, careful. You still haven't healed fully. You've been out for a few hours. A few hours? Where's... He thought of asking for James, but he remembered what happened earlier. James... You're lucky to be alive, you know. You barely made it. What's your name? In case you forgot, I'm Zeke. I'm... Edgar. What happened to me? How much do you remember? Well... I was in an aircraft, and it was crashing, and I was shot. Yes, that would explain the bullet wound. I stopped the bleeding. Thank you. You're welcome. What happened up there? It's hard to explain. I shouldn't be alive. How did I make it out of that crash? Well, an aircraft did crash a bit of ways from here. But you were in a spot. I saw you land. Saw me land? Yes, specifically, he was carrying you. Zeke pointed behind Edgar, struggling. Edgar leaned in on his other arm and looked. It was a drake from before, the Alpha Drake. Edgar almost couldn't process it. The ultimate weapon was sitting not 6 feet away from him. It had its green eyes open, trained on Edgar. It was completely and utterly silent. He brought me down? That's right. I might be old, but my eyesight is still sharp as ever. I came over to see what the commotion was about, but he put you down. I saw you were bleeding. I thought that it might be dangerous, but I couldn't just watch you die, so I carefully approached and fixed you up a little. Edgar didn't know what to think. Thank you. I would be dead now if you hadn't helped me. You're welcome. And you seem like a nice young man, so I'm happy to have helped. So, you weren't afraid of this thing? I lived a long time. I've seen some pretty crazy things. I wasn't too worried. Well, this kind of machine is not common. He's a weapon. What kind of weapon gently sets down a single person? I don't know. Edgar stared at the fire. Hey, Alpha Drake? Can you talk? The machine opened its mouth and moved its tongue around. It looked like it was struggling to say something. Its voice sounded like a synthesized deep dragon voice. Protect. Protect? Protect. So, you wanted to protect me? Yes. But why? Protect. Edgar sighed. This isn't helping. Edgar laid back down slowly. What a strange fellow. Zeke walked over and grabbed his lantern. Well, now that you are better, it is best that we go to shelter. We don't want to be out here all night. Where do we go? My cabin is nearby. It's up to you, of course. Well, yes, we will go. Thank you. Edgar tried to get up, struggling. The drake walked over and effortlessly lifted Edgar with his hands. Whoa! Edgar felt himself panic as the huge metallic muscles cradled him. Help. Yeah, I guess this is fine. Zeke raised an eyebrow and chuckled. He lit a dried stalk on the fire and used it to light that lantern. Then he kicked dirt into the fire until it was completely out. All right, follow me. Zeke started walking and the drake followed him. Edgar was intrigued by how smart the drake seemed. It understood context clues and could communicate. He had not even used the word help, but somehow the drake knew the word. He must have picked it up somewhere else. Now he started to understand a next-generation AI. Something that was as smart as any person, but having machine-like speed and control over weapons. Edgar should have feared something like that, but he just didn't get any sense of danger looking at this goofy Drake carrying him. If anything, he was kind of cute. They continued onwards. The moon was bright, shining a pale white light in between the trees. After a few minutes, they reached the lonely-looking cabin. Hang on, I have some spare sheets somewhere here. Zeke dug through the chest and procured 2 pillows and a blanket. It's a good thing that I keep extras. You never know when you'll have company over, even as an old hermit like me. He placed the blanket on the ground and the 2 pillows on top. Alright, well, I do believe it's bedtime. You should get some rest. The Drake set Edgar down on the blanket extremely gently. Then it lay down next to him, placing his head on the pillow. Wait, why would you use a pillow? Does it make you feel more comfortable? The Drake looked up at the ceiling. Yes. That's very strange to me. Zeke crawled into his bed. Have a good night, you two. Good night, Zeke. The room was lit by the outside moonlight and the glow coming from the Drake's eyes. Hey, you should close your eyes when you go to sleep. But see danger. You can still hear, can't you? I can't sleep with that light. Close eyes. The Drake closed his eyes. Edgar closed his eyes as well and immediately thought of James. They killed him. They killed James. He felt tears run down his cheeks. He lightly sobbed. I miss you so much. Do not cry, Edgar. James, alive. Edgar opened his eyes. The Drake was looking at him. What did you just say? James is alive. Chapter 8, Blackout. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. So, you break in, and unfortunately, they kidnap you. They bring you back to probably the base again, or probably the base again. And they supposedly kill your new boyfriend, and they lock you up with the intent of turning you into target practice for the ultimate weapon, quote unquote. And it turns out that ultimate weapon wanted to, or is going to protect you now. My guess is it has something to do with the fact that when Edgar opened the box and then he looked at it and then he saw this whole landscapes and stuff like that, that it probably connected to him. So that's why the Drake is helping him specifically. And that's why I didn't react to Firion. So that's probably how it works. Probably Firion and Nikolai are probably still alive. There'll probably be some sort of threat later on towards the closing of this. I was gonna say the series, but it's the closing of this story. You know, the ultimate climax. I'm assuming the robot's gonna have something to do with that. I also did not expect Edgar to get a robot since he doesn't like robots, but I guess he has one now. Also, good to see that James is still alive, or at least that the robot thinks he's alive. Unless it's gonna be one of those James is alive in your heart. That'd be silly. Poor Edgar, if that's true. Anyways, but yeah. So thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Super Taco Crew yourself and, figure out what's gonna happen before I put up the next videos, you can do so by going down into the description for Decker the Wolf's Twitter page, which should have a direct link to the itch page where you can read the demo, or you can pay to read the full thing, which is only $5. Come on, don't be cheap, people. And, find out what happens. And, it does support Decker the Wolf, aside from commissioning him if you want. Also, I have a coffee in case you want to, donate to me if you feel so inclined, but you don't have to. But it is very, very appreciated. It does help, especially in times like these. Trust me, it does help. And it does show that you appreciate my work. So, Come on. Give me your money. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I guess that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.